Well, hello again there, guys. Brian here, D3 Topics Gamer, here to give you another episode of my weekly Q&A. It's how the people's questions, where I answer a series of questions that have been sent to me over the past week. This time we got about 6 questions, so we definitely got a little bit more questions than we did, I see, for the past 2 weeks, so I think that's a good thing. And I definitely have a feeling that we're going to have a lot more energy this time around, just because I really like the quality of questions that we got for this particular episode. So before I jump into your guys' questions, like always, if you happen to enjoy this video or would like to see more videos like this, do not forget to give this video a thumbs up and press the subscribe button if you'd like to see this and more content. And jump right into the first question, coming from Zack Taft. You want to know, what is my favorite moment in the Ezio trilogy of Assassin's Creed games? Unquestionably, I think one of the most ridiculous and funniest moments, and my personal favorite moment, has to be in Assassin's Creed 2 at the end, when you are literally curb stomping the Pope. This has got to be the single funniest, most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, because just the concept of getting into a fist fight with the Pope is just a culmination of everything that makes Assassin's Creed so enjoyable and ridiculous from a historical point. Yeah. Curb stomping the Pope. It don't get any better than that in the entire franchise, period. So, yeah, I'd go with that. Next question comes from Brady Burke. He wanted to know, why has Xbox's reputation started to fail over time? I think they've just started to fail over time because I think they've forgotten that at the end of the day, we want to have fun with our consoles, and they're so focused on trying to make the console do more things than just play games that it's trying to compete with other types of entertainment devices, and instead of just focusing on what it can just normally do well. I'm not saying the Xbox, can't succeed. They definitely do things, I think, very much. They have their fan base, and they definitely do a number of things very well. They just need to focus down on that instead of trying to expand themselves and try to make themselves more than just an entertainment system. I mean, if once you have a focus and you stick to that, heck, your success will follow. Next question comes from Night at Slayer 666. You want to know, would I rather have a Devil May Cry Sparta game or a Devil May Cry 6 game? I don't think we need a Devil May Cry 6 game. I don't really know where you could go from after 5. I think 5 was pretty much a good ending to the whole series in general. I would like to see a Sparta game, because for a character that is so known and so important to the franchise in general, the fact that we've never actually seen or met Sparta, all we've heard is just things he's done. I would love to see a Sparta game. I think that'd be really, really cool. Next question comes from GOG, and you want to know, do I think that 2D animation films should make a comeback in theaters? I don't think they can make a comeback in theaters, because the only company I think could actually do it is Disney. And since Disney has now entered a woke period, I don't trust them with any property at this point. I just don't. I can't trust Disney anymore. It is clear that Disney has lost its spirit and its soul and its heart. And when you've lost all 3 of those elements, why would I trust you with trying to tell classic 2D types of stories? So, no, I would say in this woke age of Disney, I would not trust them with 2D animation films. And heck, I still have all the 2D animation films that I grew up watching. And as far as I'm concerned, they are timeless. I was always watching them as a kid, and I will continue to watch them as an adult. Next question comes from Will Williams, and I really like this one. And you want to know, how would I get over a rejection after telling someone how you feel about them, only to find out that they were already in a relationship with someone else? Okay, well, I'll tell you my response, but let me ask you a couple questions. Number 1, if you knew this person, how long did you know this person? And if you knew this person, how did you not know that they are already dating somebody else? And that's the thing with me. Before I attempt to make any kind of move, I usually spend a good amount of time kind of getting some info on them. Like if they're dating someone else, what's their current status, where they live. Well, maybe not. And maybe some information I probably shouldn't know unknowingly about them at first. So I probably wouldn't be in your position. But you go a little bit further. Let's say this person was single, and you did ask them out, and you did get kind of rejected. I think, you would take a step back, look at yourself, and say, heck, I'm a catch. I know I know what I'm worth. I know that I am a very special individual. And if, heck, they don't want to be with me, well, that's your loss. You need to put value in yourself, so don't put yourself down. I can tell you that I experienced a moment like this, and heck, if you allow me a moment, I'd like to go into story time for a moment. So, there was this one girl I knew a number of years back that I kind of had a great amount of affection for. Maybe not in a romantic sense, but I thought we were pretty close friends. Who then pulled a really, really bad betrayal move on me, and I felt really upset. So the morning that this happened, I immediately took all the gifts and pictures I had of the two of us, put it in a pot, went into my garage, set it on fire while playing Linkin Park Burn It Down. And then once all that stuff was turned to ashes, I then went up to my room, popped in God of War 3, and then replayed the Poseidon fight about 2 hours and rinse and repeat, basically playing the scene where you take Poseidon's head and keep bashing it over the rocks and keep plucking its eyes. I think I had to have played that scene maybe 20 times over the next 2 to 3 hours, and then as soon as I was done and I felt cool and relaxed, I felt pretty good with myself. And now these days I have no problem openly calling this person a cunt. And I hope all the bad things in life happen to you and nobody else but you. I'm sure she'll never see this video, but heck, after that moment was over, I felt pretty damn good about myself because it was her loss. I would never pull a bullshit move like that, and yeah, I moved on from my life from that. So, going back to you, my friend, if you do happen to get into a situation like that, don't beat yourself up. It's their loss. It is not your loss, and you should just look forward to the next beautiful person that you hope to have in your life, and I'm sure when you find that wonderful person, your life will never be happier. So, that takes us to the last question of the episode. And if you happen to hear that, this is my air conditioning kicking off. And the last question of the episode comes from Wes H. And you want to know, curiosity on my thoughts on Nintendo games. I think Nintendo games are fine, although I haven't really played too many of the newer ones, simply because my biggest issue with Nintendo is the fact that they keep rinse and repeating and using the same IPs they've been using for like the past 30 years. What I don't like about Xbox is that they just don't have a wide enough expansion diversity of different games on their own, and Nintendo just keeps reusing the same old games. What I love about PlayStation is that every generation is different. PlayStation is in a constant state of redefining itself, which is why I have no problem when they retire old franchises and bring in new ones. Some say that, heck, if a franchise ends, it's a failure. Not at all. Because all great franchises should have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and that leaves room for new franchises to come in to define its generation. Which is why every single generation feels different, and it doesn't feel like they're just rinse and repeating and using the same franchises over and over again. And Nintendo has been doing that for the past 30 years. So that is my only issue with Nintendo. Nintendo, I still think, is the perfect beginner console. Heck, if I live long enough to have kids, you can bet your ass their first console that they will play will be on a Nintendo. But in terms of their games, I just wish that they tried creating new IPs instead of making another Mario game, another Star Fox game, another Metroid game, another a Smash game, another Pokemon game. They just keep rehashing the same IPs. Come up with a brand new IP and maybe retire a few old them. But they probably won't do that because, heck, those old franchises make money, and they know that, heck, if they make a new installment, that'll bring people in. But I think that's kind of a cheap tactic. I mean, trust me, as much as I love God of War, I would be perfectly happy if one day Santa Monica Studios decided to retire the God of War franchise and work on something else. I would absolutely welcome that with open arms because I know what type of quality I can expect coming from such a great studio like them. And with that, those are all the questions that were sent to me for this particular episode. I'd like to thank everyone who sent in your questions, as well as all the individuals that sent in your questions that I entered in the comment section of the last video. If you guys have any more questions you'd like me to answer in next week's episode, be sure to type them in the comments down below, but make sure you get them entered roughly before Wednesday around noon before I start filming the next episode. And like always, I want to thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next week.